Sorry, I didn't see you up there before.
Can you define your view of what the Department of Education is for and one thing that you would change in it?
You'd like me to define my view of what I think it's for or what the government thinks it's for?
No, define your view of what you think the Department of Education should be doing, and
What I think it should be doing, I'm sorry.
give me one change that you would make.
Well, I can answer both of those with one thing. Actually, what I think it should be doing is making sure that there are standards about taught across the country to every citizen, immigrant or naturalized, about our government, about the Constitution, why it was written the way it was, about our founding documents, our founding principles, what the laws of our land are. And I believe that that's absolutely critical, that everybody in America, every citizen in America should know that and should be aware of what our Constitution says, and teaching the Federalist Papers, teaching the Declaration of Independence, the history, what the founders said and why they said what they said, because it's very clearly documented. Actually, what the Wall Builders program would be an excellent curriculum for them, in my personal view. And I think that that's really the only thing that the Education Department should be for, in my opinion.
The only thing, in my opinion, the Department of Education should do is close down and get out of Washington. I completely disagree with them being there to begin with. They're unconstitutional. As far as I'm concerned, the local and state governments know curriculums better than the federal government does. If the state of Texas wants to teach the Federalist Papers and the Constitution and the Texas Constitution, which is my favorite state constitution, then you know what? That's their decision. They can vote for that, and they can make sure that the ISDs all have their curriculum in place. I don't agree that federal government should be involved at all. That's not the only department that should go. Department of Education was part of the HIT program under Reagan that he never got around to getting rid of. When I'm in Congress, there's something in the hopper immediately to get rid of them, so you don't have to worry about that.
You know, I always hear the argument about about getting rid of the Education Department, and you know, it's a great goal, but I like to focus on achievable goals, and that's not one of the things that I think that you'll ever get past as far as that goes. So in my mind, it's more effective if we can stop unfunded mandates from the government, because there's a political reality on the ground that there are 435 members of Congress. You can't just walk in the door and have the fiat power to say, we're going to get rid of this department, and everybody's going to go, oh yeah, that's what he said. The reality is that we're going to be stuck with the Education Department for a while. So I'd rather, I'd like to get rid of it, but in the short term, I'd settle for taking away all the unfunded mandates, and removing No Child Left Behind and programs such as that, which is an unfunded mandate, and getting it to teaching what every American, I believe, should know, which is the Constitution, the founding documents. I think that that's important, and I think that it's important for somebody to focus on that and not just rely on the states.
Well, I totally disagree. I actually couldn't disagree more. Scott, the reality here is this. If there isn't a congressman that's going to stand up and say, get rid of it, it's never going to go. You have to be a conservative voice when you get to Washington. You can't be willing to say, you know what, I'm going to compromise on this kind of spending to make sure that these certain goods are performed by our government. And when it comes down to it, Department of Education is not constitutional, and if you're going to be teaching the Constitution, you probably should be following it to begin with, and so it needs to go. And I say, when you get to Congress, you should say, you know what, this was unconstitutional, this was unconstitutional, this was unconstitutional. Let's trash it and start from scratch. And if nobody else is going to do it, Scott, then it's never going to happen. So I want to be the voice when I get to Washington to say, you know what, time for an end.